Hi everyone, my name is Selena, and I'm here today with Siyuan, Zelina, and Tina. Welcome to our presentation on cultural and history. Through the exploration of diverse cultural and historical narratives, we uncover how art and materials are not only preserve cultural heritage, but also serve as a medium to express resilience, identity, and the intersection of past and present.
To introduce our first reading, we would like you to reflect on your own experiences with navigating multiple identities, whether through cultural, personal, or social changes. How do you balance where you come from with where you are now? Can you identify objects, symbols, or moments in your own life that represent this sense of transition? So the reading I would like to introduce is In My Own Words by Gu Xiong. Gu Xiong is a Chinese-Canadian artist whose work is deeply rooted in themes of migration, cultural identity, and the cultural connections between East and West. Born in Chongqing, China in 1953, he moved to Vancouver in 1989, where his artistic practice continued to evolve. In My Own Words, Xiong reflects on his experiences of migration and how they shape his identity and artistic practice. He highlights that as an artist, creation is not only a means to preserve cultural heritage, but also a way to express resilience, identity, and the intersections of past and present. Through pieces like Smile and The River, Xiong captures the evolving nature of identity shaped by migration. Smile delves into the tension of presenting a facade in a foreign society, where outward expressions of fitting in may mask inner struggles to retain cultural authenticity. A snippet from his accompanying poem for Smile reads, quote, I smile when I finally can listen and speak. The more I smile, the more people treat me like a real person in the society. I smile no matter how hard a life I have. I smile to the past, smile to the present, smile to the future, and I smile to all, end quote. Overall, Xiong's artworks serve as a visual expression of the complexities of migration, reflecting on the collective experiences of displacement. So the first artist we would like to introduce is Yinka Shonibari. Yinka was born in London, but moved back to Nigeria with his family when he was 3. His artwork, through his use of Dutch wax fabrics, focused on critiquing colonialism and post-colonialism, inspired by his experiences as a Black man growing up in both England and Nigeria. Shonibari blends both Western and indigenous African influences into his art, as exemplified by his choice of material, since Dutch wax fabric is a material associated with African identity, but was actually produced through European colonial trade. His art highlights the complex histories between Africa and Europe by blending traditional African textiles with European historical imagery. I'm a big fan of Rococo paintings and was instantly drawn to Yinka Shonibari's work, The Swing, after Fragonard, that he made in 2001. This was a 3D recreation of the famous Rococo painting, The Swing, by John Fragonard, but he chose to dress it in African-style prints instead. This is actually one of his most famous artworks, and for good reason, due to how captivating the vibrant fabrics are. By using this fabric, Shonibari highlights the historical connections between European wealth and the exploitation of African colonies. In this version, the young woman on the swing is headless, referencing the French Revolution and the guillotine, which symbolize the fall of the aristocrats.
Thank you, Zelina. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Siyuan, and today I'll explore the theme of culture and history through the works of indigenous artists who use their art to reconnect with their heritage and address the complexities of modern identity. So now let's turn to Deborah Sparrow. Active since the late 20th century in Vancouver, British Columbia, reflects on her experience of learning traditional Musqueam weaving as an adult in her article, A Journey. She discovered that textiles are a powerful medium for preserving cultural narratives, especially those that have been marginalized or forgotten. She described how each time she stands at the loom, she feels connected to the women who wove before her, demonstrating how textiles can serve as tools of cultural resilience, bridging the past and present. Her intricate corsage designs, which she was woven since the 1990s, are more than decorative. They carry deep meanings tied to the land, people, and spiritual beliefs of her community. Her works have been displayed in public installation in Vancouver, including at the YVR Airport. We can all say that, right? Where her weaving asserts Indigenous presence in contemporary spaces and encourages a new generation to take pride in their heritage. And this is also her piece, one of her piece. And similarly, Brian Jongen, another Indigenous artist, active since the late 1990s, approaches cultural identity through a different medium, now sculpture. Born in 1970s in British Columbia, Jorgen is based in Vancouver and works internationally. He is of Denzar First Nations descent and is internationally recognized for his innovative use of mass-produced objects to create powerful statements about Indigenous identity and consumerism. His techniques involves deconstructing everyday items such as sneakers and plastic chairs to create sculptures that challenge viewers to rethink the relationship between traditional culture and contemporary lives. His prototypes for New Understanding series, created between 1998 and 2005, in which he reconfigures Nike Air Jordans into Northwest Coast indigenous ceremonial mask, is a prime example of how he fuses modern consumer products with indigenous forms and questioning the boundaries between authenticity, consumer culture, and colonial history. Another iconic work is Satology, a massive whale skeleton constructed from white plastic lawn chairs. Through these works, he comments on environmentalism, on globalization, and indigenous survival in the modern world. Now, his art is often displayed in prominent international galleries, where it asserts that Indigenous identity is dynamic and ever-evolving. His use of industrial materials highlights the resilience of Indigenous culture in the face of consumerism and modernity, showing that heritage can adapt and thrive in contemporary settings. In conclusion, both Deborah Sparrow and Brian Jongen illustrate how art can serve as a powerful medium for cultural expression, historical preservation, and identity. Their works challenge the static narrative of Indigenous practices and prove that these traditions are living, evolving, and deeply relevant in today's world.
Okay, so before we dive into the third and the fourth reading, I have a question. Both the Icelandic Lapapesa sweater and the indigenous textile traditions use wool to preserve cultural history. In what ways do you think these two traditions are similar or different in how they connect to the identity or resilience of their people? Wool production in Iceland goes far beyond practical use. It is a living testament to the country's cultural history. The reading Nation in the Ship's Code is well how wool, especially in the form of Lapapesa sweater, is a key part of Iceland's narrative, telling Iceland's stories, connecting its tough past with its modern identity. Iceland's harsh environment makes shift farming and wool production essential for survival. But wool is much more than just a material. The Lapapesa sweater, with its unique patterns, become a symbol of cultural tradition, showing Icelanders' strong ties to their Viking ancestors and their ability to adapt to tough conditions. These sweaters are now present Icelandic heritage and is worn with pride to express both culture and craftsmanship. Each lapapesa tells stories of survival and creativity. Over the centuries, wool production has kept Iceland connected to its past, while also showing its growth and progress. Wearing the lapapesa today is part of a wider cultural tradition that brings Icelanders together. In this reading, slow and indigenous approaches to textile arts shift our focus to how indigenous communities around the world have similarly used wool to preserve their cultural histories and identity. Wool has been a critical part of indigenous textile traditions. These traditions emphasize the slow, careful process of weaving, which stands in opposition of the fast modern fashion industry. For example, many Indian communities have relied on natural fibers like wool for centuries, using techniques passed down through generations to create textiles that represent not only practical clothing, but also deeply symbolic patterns that tell stories of their ancestry and connection to the land. The reading also highlights the Navajo weaving tradition in North America, where sheep farming and wool production became central to their culture after sheep were introduced by the Spanish in the 16th century. Navajo textiles, known for their designs and vibrant colors, are more than just blankets. They are embodiment of the Navajo people's resilience and spiritual connection to the land. Wool in this indigenous context is not just a fabric, it's a material that holds cultural weight. Wool is part of the land, the animal, and the people.
Next, I want to talk about the artist Ruth Struying. Ruth Struying is a Canadian textile artist and educator. She began her career in the 1980s, often focusing on the cultural and historical significance of weaving. Struying's work blends history and technology in her textile art. She uses modern technologies such as computerized jacquard loom and GPX technology, etc. The digital jacquard loom, which is actually based on a machine invented way back in 1804 for creating intricate patterns in fabric. The cool thing is, Struying brings these ancient techniques into the digital age by weaving her textile from digital files. Her pieces may look like traditional materials like towels, but they work more like conceptual paintings, inviting audiences to see and feel the stories woven into them. A big part of her work is centered around mythological women who are tied to textile history. Figures like Penelope, Ariadne, and Arachne in Greek mythology. Take Penelope, for example. In the Greek mythology, she famously held off her suitors while her husband, Odysseus, was away by weaving a shroud during the day and secretly unweaving it at night. Weaving has been culturally significant in many Asian societies, symbolizing creativity, patience, and craftsmanship. In mythology, it often represents control over time and destiny. Figures like Penelope highlight the connection between weaving and the idea of manipulating life's outcomes. In Struying's piece of Penelope meets Ada Lovelace, we can see on the right where Penelope at her loom resting, while Ada Lovelace, the female who's known as the first computer programmer, appears on the left as if they were in a dream. It's a powerful way of linking Asian weaving with modern technology, showing how women have always been resourceful in navigating male-dominated spaces. Another piece, Ariadne Showing the Way with Flowers, references the myth of Ariadne. In the story, she helped Theseus navigate the labyrinth and defeat the Minotaur by giving him a bowl of wool. Struying uses Ariadne to highlight the idea of women guiding and shaping the paths of others throughout textile history, which is still relevant today. What I found fascinating about Struying's work is how she combines these historical myths with modern technology. She breathes new life into these ancient stories, making them feel just as relevant in today's digital world. I think it's really a dialogue between the past and the present, and it shows how craft and technology have always been connected throughout history. Here's the last question for you guys. How do you think the use of traditional materials and techniques in modern artwork challenges or enhances the way we understand cultural history and cultural identity in a globalized world? Thank you.